But what was it like to be a part of that historic rotation?
I'll tell you, man, a lot of people always ask me, like, did you feel more pressure?
In 1990, Denny Neagle was one of the top pitchers, but by the early 2000s, his life and career went down the hill. Injuries piled up, and a court case only worsened things, sending his already fading career into a full collapse. Before we continue, please take a moment to subscribe. The court case that not only ended his time with Rockies, but his marriage as well. Neagle has found himself in trouble after pleading guilty to a charge of patronizing a prostitute. Prosecutors revealed that Neagle was sentenced to 40 hours of community service as part of his punishment. Neagle wasn't present at the hearing, but his lawyer, Harvey Steinberg, entered the plea on his behalf during an unexpected court session. Pam Russell, a spokeswoman for the district attorney, explained that Neagle was originally facing up to 6 months in jail and a $500 fine. However, with the guilty plea, he managed to avoid a trial that had been set to start on Monday. Interestingly, the plea deal came just after Neagle scored a legal win. Last week, a judge ruled in his favor, deciding that a statement he made to a police officer during his arrest couldn't be used against him in court because his rights had not been read properly. The incident leading to this legal mess took place on December 3rd, 2004, when Neagle was pulled over in Lakewood. A woman in his car allegedly told the police that Neagle had paid her $40 for a sexual act. 3 days later, the Rockies cut ties with Neagle, invoking a personal conduct clause in his contract, which was already hanging by a thread due to his history of injuries. The Players Association fought the termination, and eventually Neagle and the team reached an undisclosed settlement. At the time of the settlement, Neagle still had $10 million remaining on his 5-year, $51 million contract, plus a $9 million team buyout option. Injuries had kept him off the mound since July 2003, so his career was already in limbo when this legal trouble sealed his fate with the Rockies. But his immoral act brought an end to his marriage as well. Neagle and Jennifer Gray met in a hair salon where Jennifer worked as a stylist. Neagle married Gray back in 1996, during a time when his baseball career was still soaring. Together, they built a family and had 3 children. But as things started to fall apart for Neagle professionally, his personal life took a hit as well. After years of dealing with legal issues and public scrutiny, the couple eventually divorced in 2006, not long after his court case made headlines. What began as a promising marriage ended in the shadow of his troubled career and public downfall. Mitchell's report further demolished his image. On May Day 2002, the Colorado Rockies were on a hot streak. Clint Hurdle had just stepped in as the new manager, and the team responded by winning 6 games in a row. One of the key moments came when Neagle, their big-name left-hander, delivered a dominant performance against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Neagle pitched 8 stellar innings, allowing just 3 hits and striking out 7 batters in a shutout win, his 3rd victory in 4 starts. After the game, catcher Gary Bennett Jr. couldn't say enough about Neagle's control and command on the mound. But while things looked bright for the Rockies on the field, there were darker dealings happening behind the scenes. The very next day, as the Rockies wrapped up their homestand, something unusual was happening in the clubhouse. Dan "Chico" McGinn, the team's clubhouse manager, wrote out a check for $1,600 from his baseball account at Coors Field. The check was made out to Kirk Radomski, a clubhouse attendant for the New York Mets. The memo on the check read, "For Neagle." That check would later become a key piece of evidence in Major League Baseball's Mitchell Report, which investigated the use of performance-enhancing drugs. The report, released in 2007, revealed that Neagle, once one of the Rockies' highest-paid players, had been purchasing human growth hormone and anabolic steroids. According to Radomski, who was a convicted steroids dealer, Neagle had been one of his clients, and the two first met back in 2000 at a New York City club when Neagle was pitching for the Yankees. Radomski turned over 8 checks from Neagle to the Mitchell investigators, as well as a check from McGinn and another from a player who reportedly owed Neagle money. In many of these checks, Neagle had signed Radomski's name incorrectly as Kirk. The Mitchell report also claimed that Neagle wasn't just a customer. He allegedly passed Radomski's name and his connection to steroids and HGH along to other current and former Rockies players. Neagle's time with the Rockies came to an abrupt end on July 30th, 2003, when injuries sidelined him. In 2004, he spent the entire season recovering from elbow surgery and, to make matters worse, was arrested for driving while intoxicated. Despite his career spiraling downward, Radomski claimed that Neagle was still purchasing HGH that same year, even though his days on the field were over. What started as a promising career with a 5-year, $51 million contract quickly unraveled. By the time the Mitchell report was released, Neagle's reputation was in tatters, making him one of the most disgraced players in Rockies history. On August 27, 2007, Neagle found himself in trouble with the law again when he was arrested for driving under the influence. This was yet another low point in the former star pitcher's already troubled life. Later, Neagle pleaded guilty to the charges, adding to the growing list of personal and legal issues that had plagued him in the years after his baseball career came crashing down. What was once a life of success and fame had now become overshadowed by these repeated run-ins with the law. Financial troubles then began. In 2012, Neagle took legal action against his financial advisor, William S. Levitt, accusing him of mismanaging his money and placing 80% of his wealth in risky, alternative investments without his knowledge or consent. These investments led to significant financial losses, and Neagle claimed that Levitt exploited his utter lack of financial acumen to pocket exorbitant and secret fees for himself. The lawsuit paints a picture of how, as Neagle's baseball career soared in the late 1990s, he and his then-wife, Jennifer, began to accumulate substantial wealth at a young age. However, they were well aware that professional baseball careers often don't last long, and the earnings from Neagle's playing days would need to support them for the rest of their lives. With that in mind, and based on a recommendation from his agent, the Neagles hired Leavitt to manage their finances and investments. According to Neagle, Leavitt was an engaging and persuasive pitchman who charmed the couple and gained their complete trust, so much so that Leavitt was given full access to their bank accounts, was responsible for paying their bills, handling their estates, and even went on family vacations with them. It wasn't until later that the Neagles realized Leavitt had been making decisions that weren't in their best interest. The lawsuit sought punitive damages for breach of fiduciary duty, negligent misrepresentation, and unjust enrichment. The Neagles demanded that Leavitt return all the money they had paid him for the alternative investments, along with any other fees he had collected. While the exact amount of damages wasn't specified, the lawsuit was an attempt to recover a large chunk of the fortune Neagle had earned during his playing career, which had been significantly diminished under Leavitt's management. The start of his career was promising. Neagle grew up in Gambrels, Maryland, where he attended Arundel Senior High School and played baseball for the school team. His talent on the mound stood out early on, setting the stage for what would become a promising career in the sport. After high school, Neagle went on to attend the University of Minnesota, where he continued to shine as part of their baseball team. In the summer of 1988, Neagle had the opportunity to play in the prestigious Cape Cod Baseball League, suiting up for the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox, where he further honed his skills against top college players. His performance caught the eye of scouts, and in 1989, Neagle was selected in the third round of the MLB draft by the Minnesota Twins. By 1991, Neagle got a taste of major league action, making appearances for the Twins during the summer. However, despite his contributions, he wasn't included on the team's postseason roster when they went on to win the 1991 World Series. Although he missed out on that championship moment, it was clear that Neagle's journey in baseball was just beginning. In 1992, during spring training, Neagle was traded to the Pittsburgh Pirates, marking a new chapter in his career. By 1994, he had earned a spot as a full-time starter for the Pirates, and his performance only got better from there. In 1995, Neagle truly came into his own, posting a solid 13-8 record with a 3.43 ERA, establishing himself as the ace of what was otherwise a mediocre Pittsburgh pitching staff. That year, he was selected to represent the Pirates at the All-Star Game, a clear sign of his growing status in the league. Neagle was a workhorse that season, leading the entire National League in innings pitched, with 209 2-3 under his belt, and also in hits allowed with 221. He was off to a strong start again in 1996, boasting an impressive 14-6 record. On August 27, 1996, Neagle delivered a standout performance, pitching 8 solid innings and giving up only 2 runs against the first-place Atlanta Braves. It turned out to be his final game in a Pirates uniform. The very next day, the Braves, in the middle of their playoff push, traded a young Jason Schmidt to Pittsburgh in exchange for Neagle. bringing the left-hander to a team looking to make a deep postseason run. For Neagle, it was the start of a new journey with one of the top teams in the league. 1997 was the best season of his career. In 1996, Neagle got the chance to showcase his skills on baseball's biggest stage when he was given the start in Game 4 of the World Series for the Atlanta Braves. Though he didn't get the win, finishing with a no decision, it was a huge moment in his career as he pitched under the bright lights of the Fall Classic. Neagle remained with the Braves in 1997, and that season turned out to be the best of his career. He put up an incredible 25 record with a 2.97 ERA, establishing himself as one of the top pitchers in the league. He even had the honor of starting the very first regular season game at Turner Field, Atlanta's new stadium, on April 4th, 1997. His dominance that year earned him another All-Star selection and saw him finish third in Cy Young Award voting. One of the highlights of Neagle's remarkable 1997 season came in the postseason during Game 4 of the National League Championship Series, where he pitched a complete game shutout, showing once again that he was a reliable arm when it mattered most. Although Neagle's numbers in 1998, 16-11 with a 3.55 ERA, were still impressive, the rise of young pitcher Kevin Millwood made Neagle expendable in Atlanta's eyes. After the season, the Braves made the tough decision to trade him to the Cincinnati Reds, marking the end of Neagle's successful stint with the Braves and the beginning of the next chapter in his baseball career. Injuries took a toll on Neagle in 1999, limiting him to just 19 starts that season. It was a frustrating year for the once dominant pitcher, but Neagle wasn't ready to let setbacks define him. When 2000 rolled around, he came back with a vengeance. Neagle stormed out of the gate, putting together an impressive 8-2 record early in the season, reminding everyone of the talent that had once made him an all-star. Despite the challenges he faced the previous year, Neagle showed resilience and determination to reclaim his place on the mound. World Series ring and the downward spiral. On July 12, 2000, the playoff-bound New York Yankees made a significant move by trading prospects Drew Henson, Jackson Melian, and Ed Yarnall to acquire Neagle, along with outfielder Mike Frank. It was a big deal for Neagle, who was joining one of the most storied franchises in baseball. However, his time with the Yankees didn't quite go as planned. Over the remainder of the season, he posted a 7-7 record, struggling to find his rhythm in the tough New York spotlight. When the playoffs rolled around, Neagle's performance continued to be shaky, and he wasn't able to contribute as effectively as he had hoped. Despite his challenges on the mound, the Yankees displayed their strength as a team and ultimately triumphed in the 2000 World Series. Even though Neagle faced difficulties during his stint with the Yankees, he was still able to earn a coveted World Series ring, a symbol of the team's success during a season filled with ups and downs. It was a bittersweet victory for him, a reminder of both the highs and lows of his baseball journey. In December 2000, Neagle signed a significant contract with the Colorado Rockies, joining fellow left-hander Mike Hampton in a splashy free agent signing. Neagle's deal was for 5 years and an eye-popping $51 million, which made waves in the baseball world. The Rockies were hopeful that Neagle would help solidify their pitching staff, but things didn't go as planned. Over the next 2 seasons, 2001 and 2002, Neagle struggled on the mound, posting a disappointing 17-19 record in a 5.31 ERA. It was clear that something was off, and the Rockies found themselves in a tough spot. As the years went by, Neagle's injury troubles began to pile up. In 2003, he was only able to start 7 games, which was a huge setback for a player who had once been an all-star. During that season, he managed to go 2-4 with a troubling 7.90 ERA. Those numbers were far from what the Rockies had hoped for when they signed him. The struggles on the field, combined with his injury issues, painted a bleak picture for Neagle's future with the team. His last major league game came on July 20th, 2003, marking a bittersweet moment in what had once been a promising career. It was a tough reality for Neagle, who had experienced so much success in the earlier years of his career. After his time with the Rockies, he signed with the Tampa Bay Devil Rays before the start of the 2005 season. But unfortunately, he did not get to play at all due to ongoing injuries. The years following his signing with the Rockies were filled with frustration and disappointment, as injuries robbed him of the chance to showcase his talent on the field. It's hard not to think about how different things could have been if he had stayed healthy. Neagle had once been a dominant force in Major League Baseball, But as his career came to a close, it was evident that the injuries and struggles had taken their toll. The once promising star had faced a series of challenges that led to a tough ending to his career, leaving fans to wonder what could have been if luck had been on his side. That is it for this one. But if you happen to like MLB legends, make sure to check out our latest videos on our channel Baseball Icons. I'm sure you will love it. Oh, and while you are at it, drop a comment telling us who to cover next, and don't forget to subscribe.